to come light candles for us. If you're at home, this is your moment. Find where you want to light your candles. If you're in your kitchen, your living room, the rest of us will stand if we're able here and really think about what we want to be our intention for Shabbat. Perhaps you really want peace. Perhaps you want discipline, to not get caught up with things you don't need to get caught up with over these next few hours. Whatever it is, bring that in as we light candles tonight and sing L'Chadodi together.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Take the opportunity, turn to someone maybe specially that you don't know, to offer them Shabbat Shalom as we go to L'Chadodi. L'Chadodi can be found on page 9 in Lev Chadash, and if you are using Shabbat Resold, if you're using Resold, you can find it on page 9, and if you are using Lev Chadash, page 91. And as always, if you'd like to stand for the last verse, as we really fully are welcoming Shabbat, and perhaps someone else will come through the door then.
L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamo v'zacho b'dibor echad, yishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'letfila. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, ki hi mekor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshava tchila. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Yitoreri, yitoreri, ki ba'orech u'mi'ori, ori, ori, shir daberi, kavod Adonai eleich nida. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'sola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. L'Chadodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We go straight to the Baruch Hu.
Lai, 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 lai.
sit down as we offer the two blessings before the Shema. The first that asks us, invites us to notice the passage of time, of light and darkness. We praise you, Eternal One, our God, Sovereign of the universe, whose word brings on the evening, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, whose understanding changes times and seasons, and whose will sets the stars in their courses in the sky. You make day and night, rolling light away from darkness, and darkness from light. You make day pass and bring on the night, and separate day from night. You rule the hosts of heaven. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv, Aravim. Then the second blessing that talks of love, and love that exists in our communities.
Avat olam beit Yisrael, amcha avta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shachveinu v'kumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה.
Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. So we come to the Shema, and the invitation, as always, to do what feels right, whether you stand or sit for it. Congregations are often very split, as are different Jewish denominations. So whichever feels right for you to stand or sit for it. And in our tradition at the moment of explaining some of our prayers every week, so that we kind of add them to our toolbox of understanding. The Shema is considered to be the nearest thing that the Judaism has to a watchword of faith. And we always ask our bar, bat mitzvah, b'nai mitzvah to lead us in this prayer. And so Guy and Joshua following will be leading us as they lead us in their bar mitzvah weekends. But the strange thing about the Shema is that it's not a prayer, it's a piece of Torah. It's literally taken verbatim from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6, and here are the words of the Shema taken straight. And so it's so interesting for us that we have this piece of Torah that we offer, and we only offer it twice a day, even though traditionally Jewish prayer is offered 3 times a day. Why? Because sacrifice was offered 3 times a day in the temple. And all prayers are repeated except for this Shema prayer, which is only offered morning and evening. Why? Because the words literally say, you will say it when you wake up and you get up in the morning and when you go to sleep at night. So we offer it only twice a day. And on Yom Kippur, we have an afternoon service. And the next time you are noticing the liturgy on Yom Kippur, you will notice that we have a full service, the full Amidah, Kaddish, everything, except we do not have Shema in that service. And the interesting thing about the Shema really, and the encouragement that we have as Jews who really have very little theology per se written in the way that the Christian tradition has, is that this is a very active prayer. That this prayer really is the prayer that we have inside our mezuzah. Why? Because it says, inscribe these words on your doorposts and on your gates. Inside the mezuzah we have. For those that lay tefillin in those little black leather boxes. Why? Because it says, place it between your eyes and on your hand. Which those of us who do not choose to lay tefillin understand, use it to help you see Jewishly in all the ways of your life. Use it in every way that you act, that it's on your hand and that you are reminded of it. And again, that we offer it when we wake in the morning, when we go to bed at night. The strong tradition that there is to say Shema for our children as they fall asleep at night, and the Debbie Friedman version that you teach our children on a Shabbat morning. Many of us raised our children. In fact, when my children used to go on sleepovers, they would have to call me for me to say or sing the Shema to them before they went to sleep.
I did the same thing as a kid.
Right. And amazingly, they weren't embarrassed. Now they'd be embarrassed to do that, believe me. So we offer the Shema. You can choose. Do you stand? Do you sit? When the liberals brought in standing, it was because they wanted to give it due honor, D-U-E, honor. But traditionally, you sat because that was when you were at your most contemplative. So you choose what you do. As Sarah Wendy will lead us in the first verse, and then we will all join. I mean, the first line.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Leolam Vaed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha ubechol nafshecha ubechol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha ובלכתך על בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני
All this we hold to be true and sure, we say, after the Shema. And we recall that moment at the Sea of Reeds, of which occurs in the Torah portion next week, Guy's Bar Mitzvah Torah portion. And we recall standing at the Sea of Reeds and full of joy, singing together, having witnessed a miracle.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נטע בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים.
Praise you, O God. May your sheltering peace descend on us and everyone who lives on earth. So when you're ready, stand for the tefillah, our standing prayer. As we offer these words, open our lips that our mouths may declare your praise.
Adonai sefatei tiftach ufi yagitei ilatecha. Adonai sefatei tiftach ufi yagitei ilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Haster Avot Imohot, U'mevi Kula Livnei B'neihem, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך גר גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, ואין לנו אלוהים מבלעדיך. ברוך אתה אדוני, Ha'el HaKadosh.
So last week, I was preparing to do Vishamru, and I was like, okay, everyone, are you ready for the rousing round of Vishamru that we do every week? And someone from the congregation went, play it on guitar. And so to whoever that was, I would like you to know I'm working on it. The chords are hard. Give me a couple weeks. We'll get there. For this week, though, it's going to be just us. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובן, בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי
Baruch Ata Adonai Makadesh HaShabbat. We're on page 100 of Lev Chadash, and we are a little further on in Shabbat Resold Siddur, but you can pick up Ratzeh on page 18. So, Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. We praise you, O God, whom alone we worship in reverence. And the penultimate paragraph, of course, is our paragraph of gratitude and thanksgiving. So if you can lean into something you feel particularly grateful for, so that you can offer modim anachnu lach with true kavanah, spiritual direction, that no matter how hard your week has been, you find something that you can give thanks for or feel gratitude for. The poet Jack Gilbert talks of stubborn gladness. So maybe that's what you have to find today. Modim anachnu lach, she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu le'olam va'ed. Tzur chayenu magen ishenu, ata hu lador vador, nodeh lecha saper tehilatecha, al hayenu hamsurim biyadecha, v'al nishmotenu hapekudot lach, v'al nisecha shebachol yom imanu, v'al niflotecha v'tovotecha shebachol eit erev v'voker v'tzohorayim. Baruch ata Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulacha na'eh lohodot. So we offer our evening prayer for peace, and I can only imagine the litany of names of places we want to receive this peace. I'll talk in a moment about the Syrian women that rent our synagogue space every week, the Yoran Club, and how different the last 2 weeks have been for them. They are normally, it is normally a party every Thursday, much to the chagrin of Caroline, our administrator, who has to shut the door, with yoga and dancing and the pain that these women are feeling at the moment, both for those they know back in Iran and for those they don't even know. The anecdotes that they share of what's happening, anecdotes that perhaps we don't even get, with the dark blanket around the news there. So just really, it feels very close to home that this group of women who use our space with such gratitude and enthusiasm every week. So I feel very close to them and what they are experiencing. And when we talk about this week's parashah and the plague of darkness, we will talk more about them. But add anywhere that you are thinking. Perhaps we think about the people of Greenland as well, wondering what is going to become of them. But let us offer Shalom Rav all together.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol
ata Adonai, oseh hashalom. So we take a few moments for silent prayer, for reflection, for a break from the liturgy. And as always, it feels good to study a tiny bit of the Torah portion. And as always, I ask Isaac and Rafi to pass round the text if you can. I think there might be enough for everyone, but if there isn't, you can ask people one between two. Yeah, that's it. That's all you've got. So I'll just give Rafi a chance to pass around there. And if you can manage one between two. It feels really good for our Jewish literacy to have a moment of Parashat HaShavua, but also actually to just take away and be able to reflect somewhat on the state of the world, the state of our own souls, with the prism of this week's portion. So this week's portion, Parashat Bo, begins in the most amazing way, and we'll end the service with a tiny poem that speaks to this bit, which Bo means in Hebrew. Someone help me. Obviously I'm gazing at you, Ruti. What's Bo in Hebrew? It is come. So, and God speaks to Moses and says, Bo leFaro, which can only really mean one thing: come to Pharaoh, not go to Pharaoh. And of course, implied in that statement is that God is somewhere with Pharaoh, who we see as really being the enemy. And it really challenges our understanding of God as a universal presence, that God is saying, come to Pharaoh, I'm already in conversation with Pharaoh. And then what we see rolled out is the set of plagues. And the final plague is this week, the very famous death of the firstborn, the most gruesome, the most distressing of all the plagues, that when God promised last week, I'm going to get you out of here, but it's going to be very difficult. There is going to be great chastisements for the Egyptians, for the Israelites to leave. And I think one can't read these stories without an aching empathy for what the people, the Egyptian people, went through, as we are reminded with every plague that the Israelites were living separately. But this particular plague is the penultimate plague I want to talk about briefly tonight. The penultimate plague is the plague of darkness. For anyone who has ever had a jolly Seder night with the games and bags of plays and plagues, darkness has always felt the most innocuous of all the plagues. The children just put on dark glasses. We rarely go into darkness as really being of great difficulty when we're looking at boils and the death of the firstborn. And yet, Jamie, the Jewish Association of Mental Health, they changed their name from mental illness to mental health, take this Shabbat to be their Shabbat of consciousness raising about mental health. Why? Because of the idea of darkness. And it doesn't really take rocket science skill to understand that depression and darkness is often very close friends. And so I want to show you these two verses, only two verses, that talk of this plague of darkness. And as always, I ask for a volunteer who might read in English. Thank you, Rafi, who always ends up reading. Last week, 2 weeks ago, Rafi read Enoch Powell's River of Blood speech for us. But you know what? A volunteer is a volunteer. So Rafi's going to read the first verse. Can I have maybe an adult, Simon, as you're behind and often do this? Could you read the second verse? And then I'm just going to highlight some of the Hebrew to allow us to really understand, why did Jamie choose this? And why is this teaching about darkness so critical for us? Rafi, first one.
God said to Moses, raise your hand towards the sky so that there will be darkness by day upon Egypt, and the darkness at night will be darker still. Later the darkness will become palpable.
Thank you.
So Moses raised his hand toward the sky. There was an opaque darkness in all Egypt for 3 days. No Egyptian could see their fellow. For the next 3 days, no Egyptian could rise from their place. There was light for all the Israelites in their dwellings.
So
This darkness, the first verse, seems pretty innocuous. We've just had the plague of locusts, which was very dramatic. And if anyone has seen, not in person, I haven't, but I've seen footage of locusts, and it is very akin to darkness of how they cover the sky. But the locusts have now been, a wind has come, has blown them out towards the Sea of Reeds, and this darkness comes. And in the Hebrew, the darkness that is meant to be palpable, that you can feel, is this yamesh, that it was so real, the darkness, that you could feel the darkness. That's how heavy it was, that it permeated all of Egyptian society, that feeling of darkness. But the real power in the text that I think we can really understand is the power of isolation and paralysis that seems to be implied in this text. So when a darkness that is described as choshech afela, an opaque dark darkness, b'chol eretz Mitzrayim, shloshet yamim, 3 days of utter and complete darkness. But the awfulness about the darkness was that it literally prevented anyone from identifying anyone else near them. That with this darkness came this utter isolation. The commentators reply to this saying that when you're in darkness, generally speaking, even if you can't see, even if you have no sight and are in darkness, there will be someone else generally who is able to reach out to you and to help you. But here we're told the darkness was so full and complete, so heavy, that no one could reach out or touch or even decipher their fellow in that darkness. And even to feel that sense of paralysis, that the darkness pinned them to their beds, they were unable to rise. And yet we're told there was light. There was light for the Israelites. And I think this degree of darkness was why Jamie chose, of every Shabbat of the year, Jamie chose this Shabbat to be able to understand what darkness can be and how any of us, at any moment in our life, we are all on a spectrum of mental health, that any of us at any moment can fall prey to this darkness. And depending on how heavy, how opaque, how deep that darkness is, it can isolate and paralyze us. And in a way, we read this not to bring our own souls down, but to remind us of our own responsibility to be constantly on the lookout of reaching out, of when we are able, of making those connections, and also of understanding the power of darkness and depression so that we don't inadvertently dismiss or diminish the power, the weight that it is. And for me, practically also, of thinking about darkness, of thinking about the Iranian women here in our sanctuary yesterday, they're there all day on a Thursday to experience and how they describe the darkness that surrounds the communication so that they're not even able to be in touch with those of their families and friends who are there. So just whichever bit of this moment of Torah touches you today, if nothing touches you, leave it, drop it, and choose something else. There are many therapists in the congregation tonight, so I'm sure you are well acquainted with the idea of darkness, but take what speaks to you, leave what doesn't, and take a moment for yourself.
האדם עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל בני האדם. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Thank you. And Sarah Wendy is going to just add a tiny bit of, actually, I think we will do Lori Sagoi at the end. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go straight to Aleinu on page 20 or page 520. That reminds us of that actually it's all upon us, Aleinu, this world that we live in, our responsibility to both be citizens and to be loving as best we can towards each other and in community. So let's stand for Aleinu. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה יוצא בראשית, אשר שם דרכנו לייחד את שמו, וגמול עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב עיקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, כך כתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עינות. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. So we turn to the Kaddish, which you will find on 524 or on page 23. We think of those who are marking yard sites, anniversaries of death in our congregation this Shabbat. We think particularly of Claire Meltzer, mother of Lou Meltzer, of Derek Pugh, father of Helena Pugh, of Jeffrey Phillips, husband of Joan Phillips, of John Wolfe, grandfather of Guy Wolfe, of Joseph Luder, father of Robert Luder and husband of Shirley Luder. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, and may those who recall and remember their loved ones be comforted in their loss, as we say the words of Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shamei rabbah, v'yamad divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'hayachon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקדושה ברכו. לילה מן כל ברכתה ושרתה, תושבעתה ונחמתה, דע אמירם בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, והיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו amen.
So we finish our service, and Sarah Wendy's going to teach us Lo Yisagoy El Goy Cherev, which I'm going to hurriedly see if I can find it in the Siddur, but you're going to teach the words to us anyway.
Yeah. So there's 3 parts, and they're all very easy. 2 of them are very easy, and then the third one has the words. So I'll sing them all through. We'll all do all 3 of them together, and then we'll sort of build them on top of each other, and you can sing whichever one you're feeling most confident with. So the first one is very easy. It just goes, eh, oh, oh, eh. That's the whole thing. Eh, oh, oh, eh, oh, oh, eh. Perfect. So that's part 1. Part 2 goes, lie, 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 la, la, lie, 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 la, la, lie, 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 la, la, lie. Once more, lie, 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 lie. Great. So you've got those 2. Those are the 2 easy ones. If nothing else, you can just stick to your guns and do one of those.
It's on page 295.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
There's a table of contents.
Really?
Why would anyone use that? Amazing. Thank you.
So the words go like this. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yimedu od milchama, lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yimedu od milchama. Nice. So we'll start with the AOs. We'll
Can
all
we
sing
just share the meaning of the words, which literally means nation will not lift up sword against nation and will never again learn for war, which feels about as opposite as it could be this week, and even nations within themselves.
So I'll start part 1, and then we'll do that once through, and then I'll start part 2, and anyone else who wants to break off and do part 2 can join me, and then I'll start part 3.
Oh, well, Sarah Wendy, this is
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Just stay in the moment.
If you can sing, you really need to sing.
If you can't sing, you really need to sing too. Okay, ready?
Okay, we'll be doing that again.
I knew you could do it. I never doubted you.
Shabbat Shalom. Let's make our way to Kiddush. Rafi and Isaac, if you don't mind picking up the pieces of paper, unless anyone wants to take theirs home, which they are welcome to. Let's gather at Kiddush.